Ricky Jones chairs the Department of Pan-African Studies at the University of Louisville, and he joins us tonight. Professor, thanks for coming on. So,
no problem, Tucker. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure, as always. As part of, I want to lay down markers so we acknowledge that things are changing really fast. So things happen, people make statements that they wouldn't have made even a year ago. And I'm going to refer to a piece that you just wrote last week in the Louisville Courier-Journal in Kentucky, in which you described white Americans as moral monsters. Do you want to live in a world where it's okay for university professors to describe groups of people on the basis of their race as moral monsters? Is that the country that you want to live in?
Well, I think your framing of the question is off. I would encourage people to read the piece. It's only an 800-word piece, so it takes 5 to 7 minutes. I didn't call white people moral monsters. Actually, that was the conclusion of the legendary writer James Baldwin. I'm sure some of your viewers are familiar with Baldwin. That was his conclusion after many years in America. And I simply posed the question as to whether or not Baldwin were right when we place some of the behavior along lines of race into historical context. So do I want to live in a world? So let me
quote from the piece. And okay, so I would encourage our viewers also, and that's one of the reasons I wanted you to come on, so people would know what is happening out there beyond their own worlds, and that people like you are writing things like this. And I'm quoting, maybe Baldwin was right when he said we are dealing with moral monsters, i.e. white people. How would you feel about a piece that described black people as moral monsters? You would rightly call that racist, wouldn't you? Why is this not the same?
Well, you're proof texting and changing the argument by doing so. Again, I would encourage your viewers to read the entire piece. I think we've entered into a dangerous space.
Is it okay even to suggest, is it okay to suggest a group of people on the basis of their race are moral monsters? I mean, do you think that a person's race affects his moral standing? One race is better than another? Tell me what you think.
What I think is very important is if people, again, read the piece and look at the world in which we live, and many of the things that we've seen, from the enslavement of people in the country to black codes, to the Civil War, to Reconstruction, to disproportionate incarceration, to a misunderstanding of immigration, and that many people in the country outside of the white race certainly have some feelings that are not positive about their treatment right now.
Well, sure.
I don't.
And you're whipping them. You're abetting racism. No, you hold on. Here's your quote from you. Why are so many white Americans so brutally mean and inhumane? If I wrote the sentence, why are so many black Americans so brutally mean and inhumane, which I would never write, how would you respond to that? Wouldn't you say you're a racist, as you clearly are?
No. The first thing that I would do is I would read the piece. And I think, unfortunately, as I talked to your producer this afternoon, I mean, being pugnacious with people like you and I, when we don't know one another, certainly, but we're both Americans, it makes for good television. But it doesn't make for people understanding one another. So I think the problem
I'm quoting your piece. You tell me, hold on, is this quote incorrect? And don't lay this nonsense on me. Why are so many, are these your words? Tell me what you meant by it. Why are so many white Americans? I'm being patient with you, but when you start spinning me, I lose my patience.
I'm going to be patient with you. I'm going to be patient with you and let you ask and answer the questions if you'd like to, but we'll run out of time because television is certainly a short platform. But again, I encourage people to read the piece.
Why are so many white Americans so, you've said that 5 times. Why don't you answer my question, which is, would it be okay for me to write the sentence, why are black Americans so brutally mean and insensitive? If you would, please answer the question.
I'm answering the question. The first thing that I would do, I would not limit myself in a very myopic way to one sentence of a piece. I would endeavor to read the entire piece, which you certainly are intelligent enough to do.
It's 800 words, okay? This is not the Republic here.
It's only 800 words.
So can you account for one sentence in that piece? Can you just answer my question? If I wrote an 800-word piece in which I said, why are black people so awful and morally deficient, what would you think of that?
I would not think you were a racist, but I would think that you are racially insensitive if you would take a piece and not look at the genesis of that piece and place it into historical and literary context. And do people who are watching your show and reading the piece,
with attacking people on the basis of their race, which is so common on the left now, don't you see yourself as part of the problem, as a driver of race hatred? You don't see that?
No, that's not what the piece does. What I find troubling,
yes, it does do that.
Is I understand many white brothers and sisters may not even be aware of what they're doing. But when people bring the situation to them and they respond in an indignant way, then that raises a question of morality that I think we have to wrestle with.
I'm trying to get a straight answer out of you. My next question is, how much do you make in your sinecure over there at the University of wherever? But you won't answer that, I'm sure. Look, you're not answering my question.
I'm sure I don't make nearly as much as you with the race baiting that you do.
I'm wondering.
I would trade my salary for yours any day.
I would never say something like this about a race.
But you do every day.
I would be ashamed to say something like that.
You do it every day,
and I never would.
You do it in a more cursory way, which doesn't really help the discussion. You know, I mean, so yeah.
All right.
I think we need
to. Good to see you. All right.